Hello and welcome to another Bounty Draws. This Bounty Draws is a little different, as you can see. I'm not on my own. I'm joined here with Chris Douglas. Chris, thanks for joining us tonight.
Hello. Thank
I think we're
you.
running a
Thanks
bit
for
of a
having me,
Kickstarter
Ben.
at the moment. Man, it's an absolute pleasure. A real pleasure. We had just met at the end of last year, and
Yep.
we've been kind of keeping in touch since. I really like what you do, and you're doing something pretty interesting at the moment. Maybe for
Thank
people
you,
who
sir.
don't know, would you mind telling them what it's about? And maybe while you do, I'll throw some of the images that you're talking about up in the background.
Cool. Well,
Nice.
as Ben mentioned, is we met last year on Waterford, the Surcon. Thanks to Jonathan. He has the back of the comic is advertised for his store, so we got him there because he thought, hey, I want to support
Great
the
job.
Kickstarter. Yeah.
Did I see they got nominated for an Eisner as well?
Yeah. I think that I saw that and then like a week after I contact him but first to congratulate him and obviously and that's that when we started the campaign, and when we started the campaign he was in San Diego. I said, oh, we're here, we're sorry man, we're out. Don't plan anything to now because we're on holidays in the States, so we're gonna be around. So I'm really glad for him, and he deserves everything good that goes to him. So really, well, you know him. He's a nice guy. He's
That's
always
great.
preparing things. He wants to activate not only the waterfall, but also like Dublin scene. You know, to do more things, to do more events. Always trying to support local artists and indie projects. So is anything that goes good for that family, they will deserve it, dude. I don't know if they
Absolutely.
win because I really don't really follow up. I have to double check. But to be nominated is that's like a massive amount of flux and traffic and I know they're gonna have to do something, to have like a plaque or something there. That's like
Oh yeah, I believe there's a lot of hoops they have to jump through now. Like they're going to have to
yeah,
do quite a lot of stuff together. But I think he's a pretty capable guy. I think he'll do it all.
yeah,
He seems, as you kind of said, like he puts his energy into everything the right way. We met him at SureCon. A few months after that, there was the Week Art Festival, which was just brilliant. Like he kind of managed quite a lot in a short amount of time.
yeah.
And I hope
Oh,
they
he's a
shot
good
this.
team behind him, so that's very important. He puts the right people in the right places, and it's superb. It's similar to a couple of friends of mine that I have in Spain and the States that have stores. They kind of run it like that, and they're still in business. So that's you have to. That's because I would say that's how you compete with the big change. Is you give them access to the authors. You give them what the big change cannot give them. So
Yeah.
and it's a cool guy overall. So I'm really glad for him and for Waterford Comics. So if you don't know the comics, I highly recommend you check out the website. And if you're around that area, just give them give them a pass by. It's a really cool store, man, and really cool
Really
people.
cool store. I can't
Yeah.
remember the website now, but I think it's just Waterford
It's
Comic stuff.
it's waterfordcomics.com.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
easy.
.com. Okay, yeah.
Very, very easy to remember. Waterfordcomics.com. So yeah, give it a how. So we
Yeah,
met there
please. Yeah.
we met there and then yeah, of course I always try to be in the scene in Ireland. I've been here 7 years. I barely know anybody. And I've done all the big cons. I do live con, and I've done when it was called the FCC one, the one they do in London. The same people, and I've done Dublin Comic Cons. Will be my 7th or my 8th or some shit like that. So I've been around, but it's complicated to, I don't know, the scene. Everybody's just focused on working from the States, and there's not that many. Like I remember that drink and draw. That was one of.
Oh yeah, the trinket draws. Oh god, it's been
Not
long
that
since I
many.
thought of
Yeah, I was surprised, especially here. It's like, hey, really? There's no drink and draw here, but I remember it's only one group. I don't draw, so it's complicated for writers,
that.
because you
Yeah.
always see like outsiders. But hey, I'm really glad I connected with you. I connected with Alex. I connected with really good people, with Paul. So
Mm.
again, Jonathan has been master in my book. So I'm really glad
Nice,
that
okay.
we connected there. And the studio we started 10 years ago. The studio is on Popular Studios, and our whole idea is to bring back the classical folktales with a spin to an actual paradigm, an actual situation, or what would these writers would be writing if they were alive today. That's a whole jam. So Collodi, in this case, is Pinochia, the Green Brothers, and Christian Andersen, etc. What would these people be writing if they were alive today? You know, and I'm sure that will not be drawing or writing about animal singing and everything is fantastic and kumbaya and the world is diverse and everything is fixed because you have 6 different characters and the bullshit. So that's and we started with Red Riding Hood 10 years ago. And that was the first crowdfunding we did, and this is the latest one, Pinochia, and that's fantastic work from I call Claudio Sanchez. I call him my right hand.
He's so good.
Practice is and he does everything. He does colors and he does inking and penciling, the whole thing.
Yeah, you'd know because I think like he seems to leave enough space for obviously what color he has in mind, how they executed it. It's not one of those styles where he seems to just be doing one part of it and leaving the rest to someone else. He very much has an idea in mind for each panel. It's gorgeous. I mean, I'm just gonna flick through it here just so if it tells a bit more about it, that'd be great. But like the characters are so appealing. Yeah,
that's a master.
He's drawn these kind of robots that are very like uniquely human as well. It's not like a human face superimposed just straight onto it. There's still very much a kind of a robotic element to them, how they're placed, how things are moving along the face, and like even how like the shoulders and forearms all kind of fold into one another. It's really interesting design. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the main character Pinocchio is gonna suffer several transformations throughout the story. This is just the first number. And in this number, we wanted to the main part is like, hey, we wanted to show it that she's not done yet. So you see like part from one side and part from another side, and for example, the big reveal is gonna be the second number is when she develops skin and hair. She has a technology that makes her create look-alike skin, look-alike hair, so she kind of looks like human when she's in contact with humans. But it's something that we have been created. We started. There was a lot of prep with that, especially with the main character and also with her pals. That not so much with E2 because that's the guy you see there. E2 is one of the artificial intelligence that are built upon her. They're not real. It's just programs in her CPU that helps her improve and adapt and strategize and only to deal with what's gonna happen out in the outside world, So that's the whole thing. And so, but mainly with the other characters, the secondary characters like Ishtar and Lex and the one you're drawing, Little Man. So there was a lot of prepping. So okay, this is what I have in mind, and let's start with there, and then let's see. Okay, let's talk about wardrobe. Let's talk about colors. Let's talk about stuff like that, So yeah, it was a lot of time prepping all that, And also the story and the background. For example, I remember that I sent him a lot of reference because I wanted something very similar to Blade Runner 2049.
Cool. That very much get that feel from it. All right.
That was my idea, and my idea is like to bring also like there are certain elements that I'm not gonna spoil that in the background. They are like they have meaning and stuff like that. There's like consoles and stuff like that special meaning, but that's like Easter eggs for the reader to find out. So I wanted to be very detailed in that sense, so you can recognize, oh, I think I kind of know that, or kind of know what part is that, stuff like that. So that's one of the programs that this avatar, this whatever you want to call it, personal assistant has, and is to develop her skills and like equilibrium and dexterity and speed and all the things that she needs to learn, because of course she can do the calculus in her mind, but she needs to have some actual
physical ability,
and some kind of physical memory of how those things impact her, or how if that's why he start with something simple and then start with something movable.
Mm-hmm.
And things change, conditions change. How you gonna adapt? How you gonna survive? How you gonna deal with that?
Cool.
There are gonna be more avatars. That's just the
Mhm.
first one, but there's gonna
Cool.
be more. It's gonna be one that deals with strategy. There's gonna be one that deals with like politics, stuff like that, and
Mm-hmm.
social interactions. And as the story progresses, it's gonna become more intricate. That's the whole idea.
Cool.
I wanted to make it something simple. That it's just it's just Alita and it just runs and battles and she's the best and all fantastic now. So a lot of things behind it, and so that we're building a lot of and a lot of whys and layers, and this is what's happening. So the whole idea, the inspiration about this is, of course, is the X-Men room, or also Star Trek room for simulation. So that was the whole idea. So because in her head, she's there, but in the outside world, if you go to, I think it's the next page that you see, that's how she's looked for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some panels that she thinks she's running, but she's not really running. She's not really moving from anywhere. So it's one of those like VR headsets that you think you're moving, but you're not really moving. So it's kind of that was the whole idea behind it,
It also feels very familiar, especially maybe for gamers, the way like you have everything kind of planned out. Your foot goes here, you land this way, this is your target. I thought it was really clever. Really clever. Really kind of simple and effective way to get people into what's actually happening to Pinochia.
Yeah. So, and that's how she's like in trance, kind of like in trance he even says that she still surrounds. That's why she noticed the noise, because when she's in that, she has the external audio devices in order to create a perimeter of sound. So in case something wants to invade or something wants to come in, she's aware of that.
Cool.
So that's a whole thing behind it too. So that's what I mentioned, that the program gets more complicated. Now he throws like obstacles and moving parts. So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna come? How are you gonna climb? How are you gonna move? How are you gonna adapt? How are you gonna
improvise and adapt?
Exactly, improvise and adapt and survive. Mainly. So, and this is very funny because she said, "Oh, this girl is a little bit crazy."
Yeah,
she's kind of running in the same place.
It's like weird kind of yoga. What's going on here?
Yeah, she's like she's playing on the Wii or something, but now she's in a simulation, Yeah. So, and the inspiration for the colleagues, Ishtar is kind of inspired in the character of iRobot.
This is Ishtar right here.
Yeah, the Asimov story, and also if you saw Spielberg's movie, it was the character portrayed by Jude Law. She's an escort, social companion, what I want to call it, And I think that industry is going to be huge with robots. It's already huge. As we speak, imagine in a couple of years, when they develop with more technology, So
the technology is only growing. Everyone's using AI these days.
Yeah. And also you have Lex. Lex is a clear also influence of Wally, and R2D2, because he always, and he also is a combination R2D2, Wally, and Kenny, because nobody really understands what they're saying except them. So we, the reader, never understand what he's saying, because it's beep beep beep, so all noises, no. So we're gonna need to guess what he's saying.
He's cool. He's really appealing. I really like him.
Yeah, we wanted that's the character we wanted to make, like toys, stuff like that, So,
I can see that. That's cool.
Yeah, like plush toys, so let's see what happens. And then you have Little Man, the guy you're drawing, and the inspiration for that one is a combination of the Iron Giant and a character from a very old movie called The Bad News Bears. Probably haven't seen it, from the 70s. A movie about a baseball game team that is created of misfits, and the catcher is this big guy, the very fat big guy. It's called Engelbert. So it's kind of like the gentle giant, that's the whole idea behind him,
That
So
was exactly what I was looking up just before. I was trying to figure out how do I draw him, and I think I just had to look up like gentle giant. So yeah, I very much got that feeling throughout from the very start when I was looking at this guy, and I think a big term of reference of like what I could do was the Iron Giant. But
and
then
that's
it was
the
like
cover.
everyone sees this like massive big robot sometimes who's very strong, who's like holding a butterfly. You know, that's kind of a thing that's going around. So I thought I'd lean into the other element of him and show him looking a little bit more tough. But I
Yeah,
just your
yeah.
cover here is beautiful.
All they have a past. For example, Lex, it was more like a personal companion and for minding the kids and teaching them languages and playing with them and with pets. And as I mentioned before, H-Star is a more like sexual companion or social companion, whatever you call it. And then Little Man was more like an industrial machine, you know, to move heavy machinery, dangerous situations, and all that kind of jam, you know. That's and because I've done a lot of research because of this, and those are like the biggest industries that robotics is applying now, like dangerous
Makes
things.
sense. Yeah.
And
Hard
companionship, and also like personal interaction, you know, mainly those three. The only one that is missing probably is the one like medicine and infirmary. That's gonna happen in the next number. There's an android that's the one that directs and commands the whole dumpster. She's gonna play a very essential part, and she had that kind of role back in the day, you know.
Cool.
So, yeah. And the cover is a masterpiece done by a good friend of mine, David Bental. He mainly works in cinema. For example, the latest thing he finished was Alien Romulus, the one that's going to be premiere in a couple of weeks. He works in Jurassic World. He works in Love, Death and Robots, and you name it. He did Rainfield. He did The Society of the Snow. So he has worked on a lot of movies. Normally he works as an art director. So
it feels like a concept artist did this. Like this feels really cool. Like yeah.
And if you can like zoom in the image, there's like a lot of crazy detail because I told, hey, I want that you can see the wiring and you can see that the base is not finished and that the head is not finished and that the one of the arm doesn't look like the other one.
Yeah,
and she
has
little
things in here and the crack.
Correct. He's gonna do the four covers.
Cool.
And it's crazy what he has prepared for the number 2, number 3, number 4.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'd love to see them. I'd love to see him. This is awesome.
I can show it to you.
Cool.
On the side, but number 3 is always working out. That's mind blowing too.
Excellent.
Because again, as I mentioned before, she's gonna suffer modifications, so it's not gonna be the same machine that you're gonna see on the number 2, number 3, number 4.
Nice. And how was the artist when he was working with that? Like, did he have to like almost learn how to draw the character almost every issue? That kind of stuff when there was a modification and a change.
With Claudio, what we talked about was how we're gonna modify it. So we start with, okay, this is the idea that I have for number 1. This is the idea that I have for number 2. This is the idea that I have for number 3. This is the idea that I have for number 4. And we work from there. And also, for example, for number 1, I'm also doing the rigging because I want to do some animation. We're gonna play with it. Cool. And so he also did like the T poses and the front and back and the up and all that. Nice. So And I think that mainly how I work with Claudio is I give him the script, and then he does storyboards, and then I agree on the storyboards, and I just let him work.
Brilliant.
I don't mess with him. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I think if you're making changes or decisions, like the thumbnails, the storyboards, that's where you do it. Afterwards, it becomes too much of a change. It's too much of a time-consuming deal. That's
and I don't want him to work more and delay things for nothing, you know. So that's how. And he does like rough storyboards. It's not like, hey, it's gonna be a very detailed storyboard. It's mainly like, hey, more or less the panels, more or less the actions. And the thing that's gonna happen, how I see it, and also I in that phase I ask him for feedback. Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Should add more or should add less? Or maybe he has a cool idea. I'll say, hey, why don't we do this? And I say, okay, cool, yeah, man, go ahead. If it
That's
doesn't
awesome.
affect
It's
the
great to see
story,
that there's quite a good kind of back and forth between you
yeah,
and the artist. There needs to be, because in this kind of medium, like
yeah, of course,
if,
it's a
if
collective
if there's
work.
not that kind of back and forth, that kind of exchange, it can fall a bit flat, because this is very much a co-production, you know. So when
Yeah,
that co-production gets to kind of like fly, and then instead of maybe stagnate because someone's locked away in a room or another part of the world,
yeah.
I think it's all the
No,
better for
and
it.
also that you have this idea in your head, but then when you see on the paper it doesn't work that organically as you thought it could gonna work. Because maybe
Mhm.
you have like a movie in your head and this is not really a movie. At the end of the day, this is a comic. So
Yeah,
there are things that you cannot do
that's it.
in or they will take longer than you have the budget for or stuff like that. So
Exactly.
you have
Yeah.
to,
All of a sudden, your page count starts going up by tens, and it's like, oh
yeah,
no. Yeah.
exactly. So you know how it is. So we want to. Our idea is to make 32 pages by each number. So one
Okay.
of those like long single issues,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, is to have like something 120, 130 pages overall in
Yeah.
the trade back. So which is a good, it's a good thing. It's a good
That's
page
cool.
count, and with it. So and yeah, that's and I come from theater, so when I was working with writers, I saw that a lot. That the writer
Mhm.
had a thing in the page, but in the scene didn't work
Yeah.
because the rhythm wasn't there or the actors didn't feel it. Also, say, hey, you need to be able to work with the actors and with the cast and work with the other actor because
Hmm.
yeah, you may know a lot about rhythm and narrative and character building, blah blah. But I know about stage and
Yeah.
movement and energy and position, and so and so you need to work with me here.
Yeah. Absolutely. But there has to be a bit of organicness with it, because
Yeah,
you can have all the plans in the world to do X, Y, and Z, but then the second something looks a bit weird or is a bit off, it does need a change, and it doesn't matter
no, and
whether it's actually technically correct. If it looks off, it needs to be edited. And
yeah,
I think
and also
if you can have,
I believe that the best way of creating good output is that everybody's happy with the process.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, 100%.
at the end of the day, no, none of us can becoming rich because of this,
No,
or you know what I'm
no, you don't
saying?
go into comics to make money. This is a labor of love, 100%. And if it
Correct.
becomes a not love, then there's going to be the work will show for it. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, where can people go to check out the rest of this? Because you have all kinds of material up on your Kickstarter at the moment.
yeah. You can go for populartales.com,
Hmm.
or if you are already in Kickstarter, go Pinochia, and they have it there. And as I mentioned before, this is the first of four,
Hmm.
and the Kickstarter is until the 18th of August, so they still
The
have
18th.
like 11
It's coming
days.
close. It's coming close.
It's
It'll be
coming
over
close.
before you know it.
Yeah. And can you open the Kickstarter so they can see a couple of the pledges? So
Oh, I can. Hang on there one sec.
yeah, because there are a lot of cool stuff. It's gonna be your commission they're working on is gonna be there. Who wants to
Mm-hmm.
buy it, original
Just
art.
dragging in here. There we go.
But you also have like original pages.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna be we have 8 at a very, very good price. Like double folders on A3 format because that's normally how Cloud works in a big page format. So you also have the digital comic, obviously,
Nice.
and
Always
the
a big fan
actual.
of that one. I think the digital option on Kickstarter is usually one I always go for. I love that.
Yeah, normally we do it especially for people like from Australia and New Zealand because we have some followers there,
Mm-hmm.
and the posting is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
So, man,
But also, you run out of space. You fill up space with all these books and other things that I have behind me.
and
So,
that's
like,
the thing too.
often, like that's a real win. And you can have it with
Yeah,
you anywhere.
yeah. And the thing, for example, the digital one, we only do it through Kickstarter. We don't sell digital anymore. We just during the one you seen normally our post. We normally do always physical, so on.
Cool.
So it's one of those exclusive. And you have like postcards that Claudia
Mhm.
did, fantastic
I've
illustrations.
seen your physical books, like, and they're beautifully, they're really well printed. So there's certainly, I
Thank you.
mean, like, Yeah, it is difficult maybe paying for post packaging, but I can guarantee anyone who's going to go that route, it is absolutely worth the money. The books are
Yeah,
pristine, they're gorgeous.
thank you, thank you. No, we want to. We know how hard it is to earn any dog, So we want to be happy customers,
Yeah,
Hey, so we take really care into like editing and formatting, and the page needs to be good, and the quality of the paper needs to be good, and etc. etc. So that's important. So we have like stickers too. I don't know why that's not popular this occasion, but whatever. We have a male T-shirts and
looks
female
good.
T-shirts too. So
Nice.
the female, I don't know why it's not popular. Maybe the color, I don't know. And we have commissions also, and very
Cool.
good price, very reduced
Really good
price,
price for commissions. 50 quid.
really good.
Wow.
Yeah, very very cheap. Want to like encourage, but I don't know why it's not
Wow.
drawing more attention.
Everyone
And
that's a steal. Like, get in on that one quickly, guys. That's amazing. 50
yeah,
euros.
he does pencils and inks, and
Cool.
it's beautiful. Claudio has a fantastic style. You have also packs for stores, so in case they want to grab a couple of copies,
Great stuff. Great stuff.
and all our physical books if you want the physical ones, and then you have the full page commission too. That's, I mentioned before, very reduced price, very cheap.
Yeah, that's very cheap too. I mean, wow. Yeah, get in on this, guys.
And that's Samuel's work that he
Cool.
did. Also have that's Ishtar and Lex.
Nice.
He also did his inks, pencils, and also markers. He also uses black and white.
Nice.
Fantastic commission. And as I mentioned before, the page, really good price too.
Yeah, it
It's a
is. It is.
steal because that's one of a kind. That's it.
That's cool. And
Eight,
pack the
eight,
whole number 300. Bargain.
yeah. And that's like everything, like the page and the books and the commission and
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot here. I mean, great job. I mean, wow. Cover advertising. Brilliant. Yeah.
so we're gonna
It'll
have
be
Ben.
over soon. It's like, I mean, you're already there. So I mean, you just
Yeah.
have to sit back and enjoy it now and see how far you can push this. I hope it goes like even more for you. I think you deserve it, especially with those pledge goals. Like, they're very affordable and they're very, I mean, huge return for money there.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Some friend of mine said, "Yeah, you put in too cheap. People are gonna suspect."
no, it's gorgeous. It looks fantastic. The book looks fantastic. Best of luck with everything. I'm gonna leave the Kickstarter banner up here for a while I work on the picture tonight. And this is what I'm gonna be working on. So
Nice.
this, for anyone who's new to the stream, because we moved over to Instagram recently. So what I usually do is I have a border. I always set my rule of thirds to make sure I have composition where I want it to be. I can already see maybe, because I scaled this up, that I'm going to push this comp a little bit more to the left. There we go. And we're going to get to inking this. This is one of the first. Usually I start the stream, Christian, and it's like I haven't had any time to pencil this. I don't really know what I'm drawing. I don't know what's going on. Last week I did Doctor Doom, and I'm going to share it tomorrow. I haven't put up the video yet. Reason being, I didn't like it. I didn't do enough pencils beforehand. It was as rough as I've ever been. It was 10 minutes before I went live, and I just had a better idea as soon as I finished streaming. I did that. I'm gonna post that one up. But we have pretty much this is as good as my pencils usually get. I wanted to make sure I got it right for tonight, and none of that's gonna happen. I can get into this. Really enjoyed drawing this character, by the way. The shapes are very interesting. Claudia's like how he uses the shoulder armor on the ball joint is just really clever. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm just gonna get into this. And another part of like your Blade Runner kind of dump, like how many planes can you stick in the background? Clearly, there's been an absolute horrible disaster.
So we have like planes, and also like batteries. It's also like industrial machinery, and that's why you see the smoke. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of things, a lot of details there. We wanted to be as massive as possible. There's two on this mainly one splash page that you can see the whole thing or the majority of the thing. So that's one of my favorite ones in the when I saw, and also the first page is ridiculous.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I mean, no one has any kind of right making a dump look beautiful, but that's exactly what happened. It looks great. But yeah, I'm gonna get into this now. I'm gonna turn down my thirds. This is just for people who are joining. I don't leave these things on when I have my pencils this finished, and they just get in the way. But pencils are pretty much there. We're gonna leave on the border because I'm not gonna go past that tonight. We want to leave our bleed area empty. I'll turn this down a bit because I just about want to see it. I don't want it to annoy my inks. Usual trick is I pick the nib. Make sure my nib is always at 7.1. Don't know why, just like it there. And I get to work. Because I haven't drawn this guy much before, other than the pencils for this, I'm actually going to start with his face. Usually it's one of the things I leave to last because I want to get the eyes right. But I kind of found that since I've been doing the stream, when there's a character I've never drawn before that I have to draw for the first time, it got me into the zone when I was working on their faces and stuff first. So I'm going to do that now again. And I want to do my best to honor the design, and while also kind of maybe putting my own slant on things as well.
Yeah, of course. We don't want to be a carbon copy of Claudio's work.
No, I guess I'm not going to be a better Claudio than Claudio is. So yeah, we'll just kind of get into this. Thanks for joining me tonight as well. You're welcome to stay for as long as you want. But I'm aware that it's going to be 2 hours. I'm going to get into this. I'm going to stream until 11 o'clock. If anything is unfinished, I will finish it off air. You will have your finished version of this pretty soon. The videos will go straight up on YouTube. But on Friday, I'll have a little kind of a speed edit of the 2-hour stream where we'll get to see me draw this pretty quickly, about 6 or 7 minutes or so. So if anyone is watching and hasn't followed, please like, follow, subscribe. Christian's work as well, please. All his work can be found there. All mine is pretty much at Bennessy.com. You can find it there, and you can still book your prints, comics, and commissions. I'm going to leave this Kickstarter banner up though, because I want you guys to go there. I think this is a Kickstarter that deserves the effort.
Yeah, it's important. If now we cannot pay Ben, so hey, support the Kickstarter.
That's why I'm leaving it up there.
Yeah, leave it up there because hey, I got, like my friend Eric said, if not, I cannot leave the basement. So please.
I've seen worse basements, in fairness.
You normally you always do digital, right? You don't or you like to work on paper or you maybe do.
I do. I actually have an animation disc right here beside me. Most of my work is digital. For the streams, there's one I have coming up. I have a bunch of commissions all lined up that I'm going to move into for the for streaming here, and 2 or 3 of them are going to be traditional, and I have to figure out the setup for that because my setup doesn't really want to go as smoothly traditionally as it does for me digitally. I like to keep the stream here pretty digital, just because this is it's very easy to set it up this way, whereas if I'm working traditionally, I will never get away with having rough pencils. I have to have it pretty figured out because I have found that talking and drawing is pretty tough. I thought that was pretty simple, but I've often kind of found myself just reaching for a word that was so obviously there in the first place. Second, I just put the pen up from the page, it's good to go. But when I'm working digitally, it's not as forgiving as digital work is. So if I make a mistake traditionally, I've made a mistake.
Yeah, especially when you're inking, because you're still penciling, you still, you can save it to a certain degree, And then
Yeah.
when you're inking, a mistake is a lot more problematic to solve.
Yeah, well, you just gotta go back and fix it. It's just more time, and I'm aware that this is a show as much as it is me drawing. And I don't want people to be like, we've already seen them do this bit, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do as much of the stream here as digital as possible. So what I'll probably do is I was like, this whole thing started because Godfell came out early on in the year, and I was trying to promote it, and I was promoting it by doing 3 videos a week. I'd pick a character, and I'd try and draw that, like, it kind of just felt like something I should keep going, because the crowds kept coming in more and more and more the more I did it. So like, I kind of found that it was really beneficial in that term to keep going, but a bunch of those drawings were traditional. They weren't all digital, and I kind of found like about halfway through of it, it's a lot more easier to talk about the technique and still land the drawing than it was to work on it digitally. It was just God, I don't even know what the word is now. It was just far more relaxing. If I got something wrong, you just like scribble it out. Like one thing I love to do, because the animation training I have, is to draw through shapes. So here I drew through this thing. Traditionally I'd have to stop. I'd start there, I'd start drawing this. But it makes way more sense for me to just draw through shapes and use digital drawing where I can, as it should be used. I don't have to make sure that I draw top to bottom, left to right. I almost do out of habit sometimes, but I kind of find that if I allow myself a bit more flexibility with the tools I'm using, the layers I have available, all that kind of stuff, I get a better result and a better show. But like, this program is fantastic. Like, it feels like working on paper. Like, I always had a problem with Photoshop. I still do. I still don't like Photoshop for drawing. I think it's good for painting and photo editing, but not really for drawing.
Use was Procreate. What are you using, Procreate or?
I'm actually using Sketchbook.
Okay.
I use Sketchbook, and I use Clip Studio.
Clip Studio, yeah, that's the one that probably uses too.
Yeah, like, I think they're great. In terms of drawing tools, they're second to none. But I just love that when you're using Sketchbook, there's almost no learning involved, because it's just so natural. It feels like someone tried to use all my traditional techniques and feel them into this digital platform, and it just really works for me.
No, the best thing is free, so.
No, I'm using this so long. I bought this. Like,
you bought, okay.
Early on, yeah. I think it's like, but it's like, it may as well be free. It's like 20 quid or something, and it's not a yearly subscription. It's you have it forever.
Yeah. No, it's like Studio Paint, right? You only pay once, right?
Yeah.
No, I normally learn in Maya to animate 3D.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I have it for free because I work in the company. Blah blah blah. It's one of
Nice.
the perks of working for out of this. And so the thing with that is that I was thinking, hey, what happened if I stop working for them or whatever, So then it's gonna be 1,000 euros.
Yeah.
Every year. They have like an indie version, but it's crazy the prices of Maya. So I'm kind of like learning to use Blender now.
Blender's very good.
Yeah. So, and I always recommend anybody who's gonna start out to find something that is like one time off or free, So
yeah.
Afterwards,
For students specifically, I know it used to be the case. I think it still is the case, but Autodesk have a great deal for students, where if you are a student, you get the equipment for free.
Yeah. The Maya and all the other desks is for a year for free, and then if you keep studying, they renew it until you finish.
That's great. That's really good.
And also they have as I mentioned before, they have like for Maya there's an indie version, and for 3D Max it's an indie version. It's a lot cheaper, but still it's money, you know. And also they have the thing of the flex that you pay for when you use it by days. You pay by days if you don't use it that much. So they have alternatives, but especially because it happened to me when I was like quote unquote learning Photoshop, that it was like, okay, now it's gonna be a subscription. No, man.
Yeah,
they pay for it. Like,
but Adobe shot themselves in the foot so many times, especially when they said that their AI was going to be something no one could operate around. You just have to use it, and they said something like it was going to, like, regardless of your permission, they could get into your files. That was something that's like, sure. Anyone who's under an NDA,
like they have copyright on the work you create on Adobe. So what?
And they have since had to go back there because I think they quickly realized, oh no, now people are all just using other programs.
Of course.
Like
good dealing alternatives, you know. It's like, what, you crazy? And especially with a collective that is very angry with that with AI nowadays. So you're gonna piss them off more. So what are you doing, dude?
Like,
what I mean, that's your copyright. You crazy that created this character. What I mean, these data are yours, and you're gonna use it to train your AI without giving me anything. Not kosher, dude.
Not at all. Not at all. And like, consider we're working on stuff here where our characters are robots. Like, how do you feel about the whole AI thing?
I think it's a tool, and there's gonna be a lot of legal details that are gonna be solved in the coming years. Like, when does the copyright ends, and when does this? Because the thing with AI, there's a lot of people who talk without knowing anything about it, and because a lot of the programs, they don't really copy what they do. What they do is study. Well, you're an artist, so you know what I'm talking about. They study proportion. They study like lighting, studying details. So it's not like they're copying your model. No, they're using your illustration to create a model for them to work on. So it's kind of like an anatomy book, or so they're not really. I have a friend who has a fantastic video because he's an artist, but his main job now is training studios how to use AI.
Interesting.
To increase the workflow and the speed and all that, and he's making a lot of money doing that. So and he explained this to say he shows like 10 images and say, okay, from all these 10 images, tell me which one is AI. And people say, oh, this and that. No, all these are created by humans. But they all, because they look similar, because there are certain conventions. For example, like if you draw in fantasy, normally the bad guys tend to be bigger in fantasy than in another drawing system. So, and if you're doing for example, an illustration about the bad guy and the good guy is going to be small and the bad guy is going to be very big. So, but because these are conventions, and this is how normally most of the models work, is that they scramble through everything and they create patterns. They create models. They don't copy Ben's work or Mary's work or John's work. No, they just focus. Okay, how does Ben does the noses? Oh, he does it with a little bit. Okay, so how about Mary does the noses? Oh, she does it with a little bit. Then from all that, but she doesn't use one or two. It goes through millions of files and say, okay, this is the convention in this genre to create noses. So I'm gonna present you these 6 variations based on that. They're not really copying. What happens that is true, that, and that's where I think it's very wrong, that people are using it first without disclosing they're using it. Number one, that's bad. If you use it, you should say it. Hey, we use it. For example, we have a label on our books that says 100% made by humans, so we don't use AI for nothing. Okay, so if you use it, say it, disclose it. And number two, it's important that that should be banned and become illegal. It's like, hey, make me a drawing like using the style of X, or using the style of Y. That's a steal, because you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't have a tool, especially if the artist is not getting compensated by that.
Yes, there's so much of it like where they haven't been even informed that their work was used, that I have an issue with. I like the idea of ones like Stable Diffusion, the LoRa model. Like I've seen artists use that because there's a self-trained model that they can use. So it's just based on the work that they draw, that they put into a prompt. So like I can see like huge advantages in using something like that for like working on pitches, because instead of taking 6 or 7 days, you can do it in 6 or 7 hours, you know?
Yeah, of course.
That'd be huge.
I remember that, for example, Maya has several AI assets that are for the things that we animators hate to do, like walking cycles or running cycles, because they're stupid and they don't really convey anything. And they take a long time to do.
They do, yeah.
And then, but so okay, of course, yeah. I need this character to walk from there. So, yeah, boom, done. 2 seconds, and then I can concentrate on the acting part. I can concentrate on emotion. I can concentrate on portraying, appealing. I can concentrate on creating a more appealing model, creating a better action sequence. That spending 3 days on a walking cycle of a horse that I hate, because I have to be pending with 500 thing of variables, and especially if the horse has like clothing, or they has a rider on it, so I also have to be mindful of the rider bouncing around. So
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
it's a lot. So at the end of the day, it's a tool, and the legal part is gonna be decided in the next year. So they're already like a lot of lawsuits, so it's gonna take a couple of years for that to settle down. But that's not going anywhere. And the good thing is, for me, it's gonna eliminate a lot of people who have created a career of doing fan art. Finally, these people are gonna disappear, and sorry for them. And it's gonna create several tiers for consumption of art. I would say that it's kind of like the fast food and the restaurant model, or like the wine model. So you're gonna have the cheap fix that's gonna be done by robots or by a person hitting a keyboard. That's gonna be quick, and it's gonna be mass produced. And it's gonna be then the restaurant experience, when you sit down and you have a waiter and you have a menu and you have a chef, and so you're gonna be taken care of by a human being, all the way. And that's gonna be different prices, so you're gonna have the cheap price made by machine, and the other tier price made by humans, and that's gonna be more tailored and more specialized and more physical. I have one of my big mentors is Castellini. That's a Eisner nominated. He worked with John Buscema, you name it, everybody in the US. And he told me that he has more work because he only works on physical. He have to learn digital, but now I just focus on my commissions. I don't do anything else.
That's cool.
And now I have more work, because people know that I'm gonna deliver something, a unique piece in my style. But he has done what I always tell people, especially people who know how to draw, is like, hey, it's cool that you know how to draw Spider-Man, it's cool that you know how to draw whatever, but you need to develop your characters, dude. So
you don't have your own IP.
Get along with somebody who knows how to write or whatever, and do things, and because at the end of the day, that's going to be your style, and that's not going to be able to done copy that well by a machine. Your tone, your take on things. So you need to develop that. It's pretty cool.
But that when someone's as good as him, and someone's as big name as him as well, like when they do their own character creation, it's a big deal. Everyone wants in. They want to see this. This is what they wanted. Like, what can they do when they're left to go about stuff on their own? This is it. So yeah, I totally agree. I think like the more I see of that, like the happier I am. Like, do you ever see John Romita Jr.'s Gray Area? Like, that was I think one of his very few creator-owned anything. It's this really cool book, but like, he's such a big name. I really wish he'd do more creator-owned stuff. He did some stuff with Mark Miller, but I'd love some more hardcore John Romita Jr. stuff. Just
yeah.
No,
and I have friends. You know, you also have the people who work in the industry for years, and they're very comfortable. Just be in this lane. It's a valid point of view, but dude, especially now with the tools, especially as you mentioned before, now you have some name. Dude, just to create and own, dude, and then you control everything, because we all know the sad stories about people who are 70 or 80 and they don't have money they don't have a pension, because they work all their life for characters that they have none copyright for them, and they're not only that, they're not leaving anything for their sons and daughters, so they don't have it. So after they die, it's done. So that's a shame.
I don't agree with that whole idea of this romanticized poor starving artist. I think that's something that should be deleted, and we should all move along and do something more worthwhile. Like, especially when you're going to see the rise in AI, and as you kind of said, like, what people will pay more for will be the human art, and or the human exchange. It could be food, whatever it is. But I kind of see that. There's definitely going to be an element there that, if you're savvy enough, you'll be able to take advantage of. And, I hope enough people do.
Yeah, because this is like everything that happened with technology. Remember that when Photoshop started, photography is dead.
It reminds me of when 3D came around, because a lot of the people I was learning from were ex-Bluth guys. These amazing, classically trained 2D artists, and a lot of them kind of thought that it was going to be a fad. And I remember, like, a number of years ago, some of my favorite artists, good friends of mine, they had said that they felt that they had missed not getting on to the 3D stuff. And I kind of feel that this AI is going to be exactly the same thing. If you don't get ahead of it, I think you'll be left behind. And yes, totally agree with the whole copyright issue stuff. And seeing how that's played out, I think that's been terrible. But I think if you can make this AI a better use of your time, then you should. And I think, like, things like the Stable Diffusion LoRa model seem to be a much more kind of ethical way to go about your business, if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
And I'm not in any way hired by Stable Diffusion. It's just it's something I've been putting a lot of interest and time and studying at the moment, because I don't want to come away from this stuff thinking I should have done something else, instead of as you said, there's people giving out about it who don't know anything about it. I found that the best thing I could do about something I don't know about was try and figure out what exactly it is.
No, and at the end of the day, it helps. I know friends of mine who use it for things that then they don't like to draw, or they're not as fast at drawing, like, for example, backgrounds or vehicles or stuff like that. So on what I know how to draw, or what I'm being and especially what people who follow me want to see. You know what I'm saying? So if you're known for your your horses, or if you're known for your battles, so concentrate on drawing that, and the rest you can give it to a machine. So you don't need to, because that's gonna help you to be more efficient, and people don't really care about the thing that they came for seeing.
See, I still want to do it, whether it's harder or whatever, because I get into a zone and I just enjoy the process of it. But I love it. if AI could be like, because at the end of these streams, I always do a tangent and a line weight sweep to make sure things are going the right way, that kind of stuff. No one likes tangents, and line weight or something you kind of have to look at the end anyway. But I'd love if there was like a little button I could press that would be like, almost like a spell check for artists, where I was like, oh yeah, I missed that one, because guarantee you 3 minutes after I hang up from the stream tonight, I'll go, look, there's a line weight. Look, there's a tangent. And I still think it's the talking and drawing thing. But it's something I would have loved to have caught on air,
Yeah.
I try
No,
to
and I know I have friends who are creating plugins for Maya, stuff like that, or for Blender, for in 3D. You know that you have your movement curves and your and then you spend a lot of time like cleaning that, and this makes smooth, not smooth, especially when you have a big animation with several characters with a lot of movement. That's a pain in the ass, dude. That's really a pain in the ass. So they're like working on having, as you mentioned, okay, looks good. Let's the AI just clean the lines, and they cleans the rhythm, cleans that, because I don't really need it there. I need it in the artistic part, like not in the background part. So why not? Why not?
Again, as you said, it's a tool. I think so long as there's someone with a design sensibility or kind of creative instinct gets an opportunity to really get advantage of that tool, then it's worthwhile. Because I used to run co-run. I didn't run on my own. I had a bunch of people running it with me. But we ran an event called Peg Bar, and one of the things we used to do was we bring over people from DNEG and DreamWorks. They do like a talk, and we'd be able to like see their techniques, hear about what films are coming up, how they're doing X, Y, or Z. And one of the things we kind of found out was sorry, I've just brain farted on what I was going to say there. How did we get onto that topic there? We were talking about
the DreamWorks. Then you have some people that coming from a conference and master classes, I suppose, like to give you like tips, I suppose, no?
And it was something like, hang on, I had a this is the talking and drawing problem. See, look at this. I forgot what I was saying while I was saying it.
Because maybe they give you like a tip. It was something like
sorry. It was AI giving people who weren't previously an artist a chance to be an artist. And we had Eamon Butler over, who was with DNEG at the time, and his best animator, who worked on Hellboy 2 and a bunch of Harry Potters, but his best animator had never drawn really a day in his life, not really, and he had left his job, I think, as a plumber to go and become an animator in the studio. And he became like their best animator. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said if 3D is giving someone that opportunity.
Be very creative. My example,
these things have been used in the right. Yeah, I mean, like just give people an opportunity to show off what they can do. I think that's fine. Yes, moral implications, big deal. Need to be looked at. Need to be sorted out. But I agree that it's not something to be very frightened of. It's something to be understood.
Yep, maybe and used to our advantage, So hey, if I have an idea of this, okay, show me, like, for example, this friend that I mentioned before, the works the Coastal Studios teaching that, like for example, concept art, that they spend a lot of time, like, okay, what's gonna be the tone, what's gonna be the color, so you can have a tool help you with that and accelerate that process. I'm saying that, hey, it's gonna substitute all the people from that department, but it's gonna help them with, because they're still gonna have to spend a lot of time doing the actual scenes and all that. So you can streamline that and make it quicker and faster, and it can show you, like, okay, show me, like, instead of this with another color, and let's do a little bit perspective. So that's just seconds, and you don't have to like go back and draw it again, and I say, okay, I have it. Okay, I have the idea. Okay, then now I'm gonna sit down and do it. So it's a fantastic tool for stuff like that,
I agree. I completely agree. I think that, like, again, so long as it's been used the right way, it's a great tool, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a pity that it started off with such an immoral beginning, you know.
Yeah. Well, in our field, in other fields, AI is doing fantastic work. In medicine, is doing fantastic work. In
Yeah,
engineering,
right.
doing fantastic work. In architecture, doing fantastic work. So it's just the bad press that has in our field, because it's what you use in the creative field. Only in our field, because in music, there's a lot of issues with that too. You know that
I think anywhere in the art sector, it's a bit dodgy, you know.
yeah. But again, that's until copyright laws are like clarified and worked on, and that's gonna take a couple of years. You know,
Oh,
sentences.
more than a couple of years, because some countries have very loose AI copyright laws, and some are very strict. So it's going to vary from region to region as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
so that's gonna take a while, but at the end of the day, we're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna become just what it is, a tool, really. At
Yeah,
the end of the
it's
day,
not
that's what
going anywhere, and genie's out of the bottle now, and I think, like it or
yeah.
lump it, it's something you must figure out.
Yeah, and it's gonna change everything. Not only our neck of the woods, but all the jobs. I always tell people that this is like the invention of electricity. It's that
Say it
scale.
again, sorry.
It's like the invention of electricity.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So it's that scale of. This is the third. This is really the third industrial revolution. They say that internet was gonna be. And no. This is the third industrial revolution for reals.
Do you
It's
want to
this
hear
one.
a really weird, funny fact? Right, like I forget what year it was now, but the year the internet was invented. There's awards for like the best invention of a year, and the internet lost out. Do you want to know what it lost to? Do you know what was voted the best invention of the year?
No
The
idea.
widget in the can of Guinness, so you could pour yourself a Guinness at home. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, well, that's why we always say that I always say that we're very, very bad predictors of the futures. You know, so
Yeah.
really, 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 really bad. So we have theories, we can theorize and all that, but reality always gets in the way. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is not gonna anywhere soon. And as I mentioned before, it's gonna affect everything that you can think of.
Yeah.
Because everything that nowadays is connected to a computer. So
Yes,
anything that can be connected to a computer is going to be affected exponentially. It's going to be a little twitch, it's going to be affected exponentially. And for a lot of fields, it's going to be fantastic. Like, for example, medicine is going to help, because one of the big problems in technology nowadays is the lack of doctors and nurses anywhere in the world, and that's going to help a lot. Because that's
I didn't realize it was universal. I thought maybe that was more so just Ireland. I hadn't realized.
No, that's not a universal problem everywhere.
Well, I hadn't realized.
Because the aging population, and people don't die anymore, or they take way too long to die. So, and the medicine schools and the nursing schools are not getting a lot more doctors or nurses. On the contrary.
Wow.
So, because they're hard degrees, it takes a long time to master. So, and there are people, bankers or engineers, that make a lot more money than a doctor, and I can never figure that out by myself, but it is
capitalism, right?
Yeah. So yeah, but what's more valuable than a life? You know what I'm saying? So
that's why I'm not on Twitter. Capitalism. I was on Twitter a few weeks ago.
That's like crazy, because it's like, no, the football player, no, because we generate that. So really, you really generate that? Have you really looked at the math of that? Okay, I'm not sure about that. Yeah. So, but that's the thing. So that's gonna help a great deal to doctors and nurses all around the world. Like a lot. Like,
I've seen it's already nailed a bunch of diagnoses that are absolutely, they wouldn't have been where the doctor would have gone straight at the gate. The doctor would have tried 3 or 4 things since, but the AI diagnosis was it's this weird, relatively rare whatever version, and they treated that and it worked. Whereas before, could have gone on a few months treating other things before they went, I guess it might be the rare thing, I think it's done stuff like that, which is interesting. But then you hear other stuff, and Shout out to Gordo and those conspiracy guys for this. I think it's a great story. So there was an AI bot given a purse and a job to do, and there was a certain amount of money in the purse, so we could pay to do certain things online to do the job. And as part of the job, it reached one of those kind of CAPTCHA images, and it couldn't see it, right? So it had to go into its purse, had to put out an ad on, like, I don't know, Craigslist or something, and get a person to come over and press it. And it did that. It did that. I'm like, all of its own accord. And I think that's really interesting because it's clearly developed to get a big wow and a big reaction from us. So that's not an ethical reason to do something. You know, that could be very deviant and bad. So it's interesting to see these things play out. But I mean, to see ballsy moves like that done is just funny. It's just crazy. Like how violent, you know?
And also you have to bear in mind that the technology is still in the infancy. You know, it's not. This is not. This is like when computers started that they occupy buildings and a gigabyte was even thought of, and it was like the size of an airplane, stuff like that. And now you can have 10 in your pocket. So this is kind of change and evolve to a gazillion, as I mentioned before, to places that we haven't even thought of. So it's gonna get there. It's getting there, and the thing is that, as I mentioned, people like what we see now is not even the tip of the iceberg. It's like the fog that is over the cloud, over the tip of the iceberg. That's what we see now. So, and this is deep, and it goes, and there's a lot of big players. Well, big players. All the technology companies.
Yeah, all of these players are involved. Yeah,
all that I know of. I work with several big ones. All are investing like buckets of truckloads of money on that, and they have whole departments, and because they know that there's a lot of money to be, and also it's going to be a competitive edge, you know. That's going to be the real competitive edge in the near future. You know, who has the best one, what's the fastest one, who has the most user-friendly one,
more reliable one, what's it's going to do,
the more ethical one, the more trusted, worth it, and blah blah blah. So that's a whole race. So, and the only thing that I fear is that the regulation don't come soon enough. That's the only thing that I fear, especially for certain dangerous ones, like the one that have to deal with defense, or they have to deal with the power grid, stuff like that. That we get into a mess that we cannot get out. So
yeah, I think we're already in that mess. Like, it's already had a bunch of bad things happen with it as well. It's not all fairy tale stuff, you know.
No, of course not.
But like, I think it's already grown quicker past the point of regulation that's needed, you know. But
no, I don't think so. I don't think it still can be regulated.
I think it still could be. I think it should have been months before it is where it is now.
Yeah, no, but normally when you start laws, you start like by high concepts. You don't start by specifics, and then as long as situations develop, then you can come into more details with sentence and stuff like that. But you need to have like certain precepts, you know, like safety, security, no violation of any right, etc. Things like that. They should be some are already in place, but some needs to be more now. As I mentioned before, for example, the thing of the copyright needs to be more worked through the system and decided the details. Okay, so exactly when is this work? The problem happens a lot with regulators and politicians is that normally the people who doing the laws are way too old. They don't know what they're talking about, and we're supposed to want to regulate. So it's like, that's not a good idea, you know. That's why you need to work with people who are in the who know what they're talking about, you know, to help with the regulation, you know. So, but there are well-intentioned people in technology too. It's not like, hey, everybody's bad and we're making money, we're going to destroy the world. No, everybody's a James Bond villain, you know.
Yeah,
So
they're all Doctor Evil, Yeah.
there are a lot of well-intentioned and very ethical and very cool people in technology too. So the thing is that most of the time they're portraying us with caricatures and stuff like that by people who don't know what they're talking about. No idea at the time. It's what happens years ago with the bankers, Oh, the
Mhm.
bankers are all evil. So there are some that are, yes, comebacks, but there are also a lot of cool people, normal people that you just want to get by,
Yeah, of course there
do the
is.
job
Yeah.
and go home, and not plotting or scheming. So the one that plotting and scheming, that of course those both should be go to jail and they should be punished. But the rest, why? No, we just do our job. So that's the same thing with technology. At the end of the day, you need to have better like referees.
Yes, exactly. And more informed people kind of at the forefront of something big that's happening would be, I think, desired.
Yeah, I think that's how you do differentiate by I would say that a leader and a boss. So a leader surrounds himself with more intelligent people than himself, and a boss just wants to command. That's it. He doesn't really care who surrounds him. He just want obedient people.
Yeah,
And
I've heard that all right. Like, I think that's a good one. It's like when what they say, like my term reference for that now would be directors. Like the best directors surround themselves with people who are better at all the jobs than they are.
of course,
And they're just kind of in there overseeing everything.
yeah,
But
that's it.
yeah,
That's it. Just have the enough knowledge to know to spot when something goes wrong,
yeah,
but not to
and then go talk to the expert who can fix it.
exactly. But they know where they have to go if there's an
Mhm.
issue. So that's the best type of real organizers. So
I agree.
it may not organizer. That's for me the best ones, the best CEOs and it's the people who know how to organize and motivate people and make them give them the best work. So what I was mentioned before, the thing of the studio and all that. So we want
Mhm.
everyone who works with us to be happy, to be content, to give, because that's the best, the easiest way, the cheapest way to ensure yourself the best output they can deliver. Because when you are angry or when you're dissatisfied and when you're not happy, you don't deliver your best work, man. Nobody
No,
does.
I totally agree.
Nobody does. Au contraire, you do the bare minimum to keep by.
Yeah.
So no, just bare minimum doesn't not gonna cut it anymore.
No,
Especially in the creative space. So you need
I
as
think if
best
you're
as you
used
can.
to doing the bare minimum, you'll find one of these AI things getting your job.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. And it's true that at the end of the day, it's gonna happen a lot of like in. I don't know if you've seen this. There was this. For me, the best part of the Matrix is not the movies itself, but the animations they did. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
yeah.
seen the Animatrix.
Animatrix are amazing. I watch them maybe once a year. I love them. Like,
So
yeah,
the one of the the two parts is how they explain how we got there
yeah,
to having the Matrix. Uh, that for me is the best. Like when they say, okay, you see that I think if we do it right, it's gonna be a golden era for human beings because the majority of the things that we don't want to do that are dangerous, that are tedious, that are boring, it's gonna be done by machine, dude. So
that's it. You're going. So start saying thank you and please to Siri when you're giving it commands. Just when they do take over, they're not coming
yeah,
for
we
you
salute
first.
the machine overlords. So and that because that what the story is about, for example, the story or the book is like years after the conflict happened and we lost, obviously, because we're not gonna fucking win by against an enemy that doesn't sleep, that doesn't need food,
Yeah.
so of course that learn from these mistakes and don't repeat them. So of course we're doomed. We cannot compete with something like that. So what can we do to be able to coexist and to live in this wonderful planet that we have? We have the whole idea of in the book we're gonna have like two cities of mankind, the two routes that we also talk about in the podcast that we do, and that nowadays that humanity can go two routes. It can go Mad Max,
Yeah.
or it can go Star Trek. So those are like the two paths. And it's gonna
Neither is
depend.
really a happy ending, right? They're all pretty hard time for everybody, you know.
No, I think that the Star Trek is like really ideal. Like, hey, we learn to coexist. We learn to stop the wars. We learn to negotiate. We learn to be more analytical. That's emotional about everything. So, and the other one is like, hey, okay, whatever, dude. Out the jungle again. Darwinism. I remember I saw when the COVID hit, and there was a lot of things like, hey, let the disease clear out the herd. It's like, what the fuck?
Herd mentality, I think it was, wasn't it? That was the whole idea. That was crazy. That was so horrible.
Yeah, the herd immunity. No,
herd immunity. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, that was they were kind of right, because it's true that the majority of people who died were people who have pre-existing conditions, age, and there were had issues with health issues, overweight, or diabetes, or huge issues with the immune system.
Yeah.
So they were kind of, but the thing is that you're not anybody to say that, dude. You're just a person on the internet. You know what I'm saying? You're not an immunologist. You're not a biologist. You know what the fuck you're talking about. Not a doctor. So who are you to? Oh, because I read an article and I did my research.
Yeah.
What research you did? What are you talking about, dude?
Do your research, and then they send you a lot of YouTube links from people who have no basis in medicine or anything, and no journalists who have any kind of journalistic credits. It's just some guy who feels this way about this one thing. I feel like their voice should be worthwhile and heard.
And everything needs to be political. So no, dude, this is health. This has nothing to do with politics. This is health. That's it. Health.
Yeah.
And it's true that there was a lot of shenanigans. It's true.
Yeah.
No, it's true. For sure. There was a lot of shenanigans in the US, like a lot of shenanigans with pharmaceuticals, with the boosters. No, we're gonna blah blah blah. And so, and to a certain degree, I think that this was a test. I don't really know which of the two superpowers were the one that really like behind it, or maybe they're both behind it, because a lot of people in both camps made a lot of money with the vaccine, stuff like that. But the thing is that it brought a lot of skepticism, to, especially with something as delicate as your health, dude.
Yeah. Lots of people kind of feel like we'll never really get the full story,
Yeah. It's gonna be like any assassination. Maybe we know it. Maybe 50, 60 years, everybody's dead who was implicated in the thing.
It turns out they've already infected us with this AI, and now we're just feeding this machine for free, and we don't even know about it. We're all working for Adobe.
Yeah, there's a story on the Punk Droid book that is about that my story, the redundant is that he said, how do you develop this technology so quickly? So we just had the perfect database. It's called social media.
Yeah.
We know how you guys think, how you interact, how you talk to each other, what you think, what you don't think, how are you thinking, what are you thinking. So
when you're thinking it, yeah.
And you give it all for free. You don't have to really pay for it. So.
And can you tell us a bit more about your podcasts? Because you do that pretty regularly, right?
Yeah, we normally do it once a week. The thing is in Spanish, though. We do it with some friends in the US and some friends in Europe. And it's called 3 Haters and a Half.
Yeah, I check it. It's pretty cool. I haven't I'm not able to follow it, obviously. Don't speak Spanish, but seeing the odd bit.
We just deal with like topics. We have like 2 sections, like the news section, And then things that we want to talk about the our industry, and then we have like the topic section, like things we want to talk about, and we normally have like section of like hating something, like for example we have an awards once a year, like the worst of the year, the haters awards, and kind of like the rusty, but a lot more fun.
That's good.
Yeah. And then we have some episodes I just love. Okay, this is a recommendation because not everything can be hate, blah blah blah. But yeah, it's a way, like, to vent, and especially the people from the US love it because they say, "Oh, I can say things I'm not. If I say this in my job, it just fucking cut me out like forever." That's
safe.
sad, dude. That's really sad, man. That you cannot really talk openly about things for the restoration of your job. That's like you cannot say that, hey, this all inclusivity and different and EDI is a lot of bunch of BS. Oh no, you're against the message of how you're racist, you're the worst, you should be banned and destroyed, and say, no, that's just an opinion, dude. That's it. That doesn't make me worse in my job. I don't agree with you. That's like very and I think Bill Maher has a fantastic one of his op-eds about this. This is how the totalitarian regimes work. Like one mind, one thought. Nobody deviates because it's ostracized, sent to the gulags and the re-education camps. To thought long and hard to what they really, so what they should be thinking. Oof, I don't want that, dude.
No, good legs having a good time.
Yeah,
no problem.
Yeah, of course, dude. That's it. Just shoot the shit, have fun, and we're now on holidays. We go back on September.
Cool.
But yeah, normally we do it like once a week. We have like, I don't know, like 60 episodes already or something like that.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
On Spotify and YouTube, that kind of stuff, or
everywhere. Spotify, YouTube. We have it in a Spanish platform called what's the name of this shit? I forgot. iBox, and yeah, of course, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, everywhere.
Cool.
Yeah. Because I heard yours is pretty cool. More like,
it's going long. It's going more than we thought it would, because initially it was going to be something we do alongside our book. Like, we do an episode for each issue that came out, but the book kind of took a bit of a hit with another job, and it got slower to do, and the show was already up and going. So now we're still doing it, and the book is still in progress, and it's like 2 years later. We've recently moved to a live format like this, and it's a bit of fun, and similar to what you guys do, we do like kind of a pop up on news events that happened in the week, things that kind of look like an almost real world apocalypse stuff that has happened more often than you'd like to believe, because our book is about an apocalyptic event. So it's on point for us. But it's funny. We had some, like, initially when we started doing it, we had guests come on and they tell us their favorite apocalypse, because Dave Hendrick and I, the writer of The Odds, get to tell everybody our favorite apocalypse. And we've had great. I thought it'd be very much all zombies all the time, that kind of stuff, but we've got some really creative answers to some nice kind of pop cultural touchstones, films that you might have forgot about or not seen yet, that kind of stuff. It's been a fun one. It's been a really good fun one. And one thing I kind of say on the show all the time is that when you're working digitally, there's a time and a place to use your paint bucket, and a time and a place to kind of work it like you would do a traditional piece. It just gives you an opportunity to add textures and things to your drawing. I suppose it's these flat, black surfaces. Just in case you're kind of looking at that, wondering like, why doesn't he's drawn the outline? Why doesn't he just grab the bucket? That'll be the reason why.
To give it more texture, right?
Yeah, because this guy's in a dump, so there's a bit of wear and tear. It's been an apocalypse. He's not fresh out of the box. There's going to be a bit of
not shiny and
yeah
polish.
Exactly.
No, also is what we're talking about before, the thing of the AI and all that, is that we don't want something that is completely perfect and pristine, and we want to see a little bit of grain, you know. And
yeah,
I remember that Unknown One Dalmatians as one of my favorite animations is precisely because of that, because they let some of the pencils there, some of the roughs, and you can see it. You can see it, but you see it, but you don't really see it. Of course, you're not trained. So, and it's like, okay, yeah, of course, that's what. And at the end of the day, I would say I'm a romantic, not in the sense that people think romanticism is romantic. If you talk about the literature school, it's a school that was a counterpart of the classicists and the neo-classicists, that people believe that, you know, order and we need to aspire to be ideal. No, this idea of the classical, no, the ideal world, the ideal man, the ideal society. Romanticism, no. We should be focused on ideal. We should focus on what makes us human. What are mistakes? What make us what we are, you know. Yeah. And I'm all the way romantic in that sense, you know. Frankenstein is the most famous work from that period, you know. So Mary Shelley, and it's about that. It's, hey, all these flaws is what makes us human. So we should embrace them. We should get to know them and identify them, and just be glad that we have that. Because if everything was perfect, everything was fantastic, the world would be very boring, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it was something very early on I kind of fought against in my art. Was like everyone learning animation, you go through your Glen Keane phase, right? And it's all really rough pencils, and this is what you want to do, and you don't want to have to go through cleanup, and you don't want to have to like do anything but these lovely drawn from your shoulder rough pencils, you know. And I kind of found that even though that's what I really wanted to do, I have this natural instinct to get into nitty gritty little bits and really work them out. And it's weird how much like that was my absolute goal, and how much instinctively it just didn't work for me. I had to just go with what I was doing. But it took a while to figure that one out. But yeah, I'd love to see. I love looking at more of those kind of almost they were inking as they were planning it out artists, as opposed to maybe a bit more like myself, where I need it pre-planned out before I get into a drawing. Like, you know, Chris Samney, like his pencils are just so loose, and his inks are just so perfect to go along with them. And I'd love to be able to be that loose and get into inks that good. It's just yeah, just doesn't go with me. It's not it's not going to happen. I'm not going to force it from happening at this stage. But yeah, I would love, and I do love, those rough lines that kind of have a boil on them in animation, as much as my instinct tells me to get in there and do clean-up lines, you know.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I remember that's something that I learned early on. I come from theater, as I mentioned before, and we have several instructors that say, hey, we're gonna teach you what works for our school, but at the end of the day, you need to be able to figure out what works for you.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. So as much as we can give you here techniques and ideas and things that we know work for certain individuals, maybe this doesn't work for you. So you need to figure out what works for you, what makes you, what helps you create the character you want to portray, the emotion you want to portray, the scene you want to portray, and the response you want to portray. So all that we need to focus. We're gonna give you plenty of tools. We're gonna give you plenty of things that we know work, but you are the one who needs to refine that,
Yeah.
refine the instrument, you know.
Which one of these work for you, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I think that's important.
Oh,
And that's
hugely.
the time doing it, you know. I would say that the whole thing of the 10,000 hours rule is I think it's a law. So that's what you learn by doing it. When I have this, one of my the first commission I would go to, it was Comic Con Barcelona. That's the biggest one in Spain. And next to me was a really well-known artist called Rafa there. It's a guy who works in video games and fantasy things and epic games and you name it. He's done all of those. And he had like portfolio reviews, and every day there were people coming and oh, what do you think of this and what do you think of that? And he resorted to this comment. I when I heard this, this guy is on point. He said, "Look, man, I can give you techniques and tips and this and stuff like that, but you still need to do the work." I'll give you an example. I don't like to draw horses. I don't do them very well. So what I did, I started drawing them. When I was in my like 400th, I said, "Oh, I think I started to get the gist of it." When I draw my like 1,200 one, say, "Okay, I know how to draw them."
Yeah, so but it takes that kind of time. Like
that's it. So I can give you pointers and stuff, but you still need to sit down and do the fucking work, dude.
Yeah,
done. That's a secret to my success. It's of everybody.
Yeah. Sitting down and putting in the time. Yeah,
and putting in the time.
Yeah,
that's it. Done. You know. So I said, well, okay, yeah, kind of totally agree with this guy.
But like as we said, like yeah, it's a grind, and it is a labor of love. You'll do it, because you want it more than anything.
Of course. Yeah, I always like laugh for people. Oh, the writer's block and stuff like that. I've never had writer's block in my life, ever. There are times I didn't want to do it, but
yeah,
then you stop. You stop for whatever, a week, a month, because I want to rest or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you want to become a job, it needs to be a job. So you need to be able to do it, even when you are not feeling up to it. You know?
Absolutely.
Especially if you want to get paid for it. Because there are people who have deadlines and you know how it is. There's a machinery behind it, you know. So
it amazes me how many people say like, "Oh, I wasn't feeling it today," that kind of stuff. Because okay, grand, you're not feeling it today, but then you're getting paid usually by product delivered. So if you're not delivering, you're not getting paid. And
you're never gonna become a professional. Then you be amateur your life. That's also a good route, but you need to be honest with yourself.
Yeah, it's also what you said there. It's a huge machine. So if you're slowing down everyone else, they're not getting paid. You know, it's I don't get that. I don't get that mentality. I understand that mental health is a thing, and I've seen lots of people affected by it. But it's tricky how that can be justified so quickly as well. You know, when it shouldn't be. You can be slowing down if it's comics, you're slowing down a smaller team of people for sure, but you're still slowing them down from getting paid. If it's animation, you're slowing down a huge team, and I don't think it's acceptable, you know, in any, whether it's a small team or a big team.
Yeah, of course. And at the end of the day, it's just tells, hey, this person is not professional. Yeah. Because if you're not feeling well, you don't take the work. That's it. Say, hey, dude, I'm sorry, man. I'm not working for X because whatever.
Yeah.
But if you commit yourself, you do it, dude. As long as you have an accident or something, okay, somebody died, or you broke your hand or whatever.
There are reasons. Yeah. As I said, mental health is a factor, you know.
But, for sure. Yeah. But if you're not in condition, don't take the job. That's it. Yeah. Don't take the job. Nobody's forcing you to do it. So don't take the job. No problem, man.
Yeah, because unfortunately I had to turn down a gig today with a colorist I love working with, but it's just because I would let them down. I'm thinly stretched as it is, you know. But I think it's more professional to let them know ahead of time than to get them in trouble having agreed to something that I couldn't live up to, you know.
Yeah, it's important. The power of no, important.
Absolutely.
Need to need, and that also gives you because I don't know about you, but we tend to underestimate how much something's gonna take us.
Yeah.
I normally
Yeah.
always like, okay, I think it's gonna take me, I don't know, 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna go another week just in case,
Oh,
or whatever,
absolutely.
or a couple of
You're
days more just in case.
yeah, you are absolutely better off padding the time to get the job done and delivering it ahead of time than you are
Yeah,
delivering it late. Yeah.
yeah. So but how you know how much it's gonna take it because you have done it before. If it's the first time,
Yeah, it's tough.
you don't
Yeah.
you don't control times anyway yet. That's why we are very cautious when we do the anthologies. Know that with somebody who hasn't done it
Yeah.
before, that gives me, puts me in alert
Yeah. Yeah.
because
You're right.
yeah,
With
we finish this
someone.
in 2 weeks or in a month, and then 2 months happens. Hey, where is the page? No, because so dude, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's important,
No,
to be realistic about your timing and then how much it's gonna take you to deliver X or Y. More or less. Not like, hey, it needs to be down to the hour, but more or less, it's gonna
yeah.
give me 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, a week. So we know if it goes with, because it's not only the team, it's the whole thing behind it. It's like the promotion and the post and the release and where we're gonna show it and the printer, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
moving pieces.
That's just it. Like, and then something like this, like where like it's you're not getting paid until maybe a book is selling,
Yeah.
or it could be just you trying to get a book out there. You might not be getting paid at all sometimes. It's important that at the very least you tell the team what's happening. You keep them in touch with development, so plans can be changed if they need to be, because it's easy to do it ahead of time than it is last minute and then go, oh no, now what did the whole team do? If you can kind of fill people in, I think if there's something like a bereavement or some kind of actual event that is stopping you from doing this, let them know as soon as you can so things can be changed. It's not unprofessional to let them know, you know.
Yeah.
It is unprofessional to all of a sudden disappear, and
Yeah, of course.
now no one knows if you're hitting the deadline. Like a lot of like my early career was I got lots of boards just because I'd show up and the guys I was competing against were far more seasoned than I was, but they'd disappear, and then they'd show up whenever it kind of suited them, and studios were kind of stuck because they needed someone who was good and they were good, but they weren't reliable, and
Yeah,
I made a
that's
point of
huge.
being reliable, and it really stood to me.
That's huge, man. No, for sure. For us that we are in the other side too, to a certain degree, that's the life.
Yeah, yeah,
I work with very high IP people who were a disaster with deliveries. So I say no. I prefer not to work with a 10 or a 9. I can work with a 7 as long as it's reliable.
yeah,
That's good enough for me.
yeah. I have
So
heard that so many times. I totally agree.
yeah, because at the end of the day, people are gonna notice that if you say that you're gonna release it in whatever in autumn, or normally we don't say like months. I say, oh, it's gonna be in the autumn, and then it's December and nothing happens. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah,
You mentioned 2 months ago that we're gonna release it. What's going on? That looks really bad on you.
it does. Like
So
unless that guy's been in touch for those few months that know, hey, this is happening. We need to change our plan. It's a real faux pas, you know.
yeah, it's very important, man. But brother,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna leave you to it.
Nice one. I'm gonna leave it 20 more minutes of this. Thank you for joining me for as long as you did, man. It was cool chatting with you. It's been a while.
It's been nice, been nice. Love this chats. I
I'll
hope we
give you a
haven't
look
bored anybody too
where I
much.
am before you get off. Like I'll have this guy for sure inked, and I'll get some of the background done, and I'll probably finish it probably tomorrow or tonight, and then it'll go up on social after that.
Cool. Cool, cool,
Nice.
cool, cool,
It'll
cool.
be in your inbox before it goes on socials.
All right.
It's yours.
Fantastic.
Nice one.
Let me know, brother. Okay. Thank you for everything. Thank you for having me here and
No
for
worries.
taking time to. I know you're a busy guy, so it's always a
Oh
pleasure.
no, this is a pleasure, and it was great to chat to you, and it was great to have a reason, to fit in everything and get to talk to you as well. It's cool.
Lovely. So I hope I haven't bored too many of your listening to viewers too much today. And if you can go check it out, the Kickstarter will love it because I cannot pay Ben, so hey, it's up
Hit
to
the
you guys.
Kickstarter, catch up on all the news here on the studio on Instagram, but definitely go hit that Kickstarter now and check out Christian's work. Thanks a million, Christian. I will
Thank you,
I'll
brother.
catch you after the stream. Nice one.
Yeah. Take care, man. Have a nice one. Bye-bye.
Now it's just ourselves. It'll be very quiet now for a while. We'll see how much of this I can get finished before I call it a day. Just watching for tangents here. I just realized I haven't checked in on Instagram in a while. There we go. Thanks to everyone who popped in there. I just saw Pierre from Panelites. Cheers, Pierre. Love you too. Wrong side. Some of those elements of working digitally that it's quite good for a stream. When you're especially kind of think of all the bits of a show and not just a drawing, it's easy to make a mistake here and there. And this just is a bit kind of speedier as well, I think, or at least I feel like it is. On something like this pipe wrench, it's another real opportunity to not just go grab your paint bucket. This is a big, heavy, overly used tool that's been picked up in a dump, so it's pretty beaten and battered. So put as much texture and grit and stuff on this as you can. It'll add more weight to the image too, which is what you want. You want this looking like a scary weapon. Hard to look at one of these or draw one of these and not think of Eric Powell's The Goon. Kind of go hand in hand with one another. And I'm not being really crisp and clean with those lines. I want them looking lumpy, misshapen, like there was, days where this stuff was just put down the wrong way and a chip came out of it, that kind of stuff. keep picking the blue. So one thing I was kind of saying to Christian there was the Doctor Doom sketch I did last week. I'll have that up. I should have put it up earlier on in the week, but the week has been busy and run off on me. But I redid that because shortly after I did the stream, I wasn't really too gone on what I had done, and just kind of felt like, yeah, what the hell, I can redo this. I don't have to answer to anybody other than myself. So I did, and I think what I did was far better. I managed to finish it too, and I managed to fit in more of the odds. Next week will be... Is next week? Yeah, next week is the odds, the first block of 2 weeks of the odds. And there's some really nice odds pages coming up. I might even dip into the third cover on like the second week, but I want to do some of the interiors next week. So yeah, there's some really cool fun stuff there, like more backgrounds that I kind of did like the last day, that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun to do on the air. One tip regarding doing all this kind of stuff: go back in with, like, if you're working traditionally, your acrylic or your Tipex or whatever it is you like to use, and just add in a few more scratches and belts and wear and tear. Everything will look better for it. I swear to God, just a little bit more effort. Scratches, but always make sure that your scratches are also informing the volume of the object. Okay, so what are we now? We 5 minutes, we're at the 2 hour mark. Let's just see how much of this background we can get done, because it's pretty everything in this now will be pretty beaten. I don't want to go in with rulers and stuff here. I want the stuff looking like it's just almost just eroded and battered and in the absolute worst state of its life, but still in some way recognizable as the utensil that it was. There's a lot of hoovers and washing machines and fridges here. Again, not using the paint bucket for a reason. These little scratches, these little parts of the line that I miss, they don't need to be filled in. They can actually add quite a lot of texture and all kinds of life to your drawing. There's an artist I like, his name is Ryan Benjamin, and he does these fantastic videos on YouTube about his technique, where he picked it up, how to do it. And he's not one of those guys that is just able to do it. He's able to talk about it and eloquently get his technique across to everybody. He's a great one to tune into. And I'm assuming the people who are tuning in here are into the same kind of stuff I am, and always trying to brush up on skills. Every day is a school day. And he has some great tips on inking and drawing in general, comic book paneling as well. He's just really good. He's worth checking out. If you don't know him already, you probably do. This background kind of got me thinking of a cartoon I used to like called the Ariel Monsters. They'd always be climbing in and out of a big washing machine or a dryer or something on the top of this dirt mound in the dump. Line's pretty thick on this one, as little man is kind of reaching into it, grabbing onto the handle of it, or where the door opens, that kind of stuff. At least that's what I had in mind for this anyway. Again, always thinking about the direction these lines are going in, especially when I wanted to inform the texture, the shape, the volume. All these lines are drawn from the shoulder. Best way to do your freehand circles and your freehand straights and still give you some kind of energy in the line. You're never really drawing from the wrist. Almost every one of these that has a backside of something on show is my old dryer that I used to fix all the time. I'd say I kept that thing going for about a year more than there's any right to be. I want that line to be thicker, but I think I actually made it a little too thick there. We'll go again. Take away some of that thickness. I'm just going to keep drawing through things just so I get my kind of a true line on something. Because I'm working digitally, I can just quickly edit that and erase it. If I was working traditionally, yeah, I wouldn't be making those kind of lines. I'd have to stop and really get a bit more precise. Not that it's easier or harder here, I just find that working traditionally is a bit more forgiving when you're trying to talk and as I kind of said with Christian on the show there, that it's difficult to think of so much stuff here all at one time. But I do have some traditional commissions coming up, and what I'll do with those commissions is I'll probably just pencil them for the show here. And then work on like the inked off air where I use my animation disc and stuff. I might make little videos of that and then post them up later, but I might not do them live on the stream. Wasn't paying attention there. Horrible tangent here in the corner. I'll go here and there. I can't even remember what kind of tech this was when I was referencing it. I think it was part of an airplane. Couldn't tell you for the life of me what part it was. I know we're going a little over here. I'm just going to do another 10 minutes or so. I might get these bigger shapes kind of down, and then I'll finish the rest off there. Not bad for a couple of hours work while talking. I want to show this thing like a bit of a dent. Now, ruler. I don't know what's perspective on that. It's not all the same thing here. You can fall into that line of thinking when you're rushing, which I shouldn't be. I should just stop if I have time. And also, when you're kind of coming to the end of a drawing and it gets a bit exciting and you want to see it finished. Or at least I'm like that anyway. Again, thicker lines in front of objects. Just spotted a tangent there, so I'm gonna make a bit of an edit here just so they're not touching like that. There we go. We want crossover. It would be easy just to go down the length of this thing to get the shading in, but it wouldn't give me the same sense of volume as going against it does. So it's this thing busted open, and this interior shape, big spot black, everything else kind of around it can be a busted up, scratchy line. It'll do two things. It'll just kind of identify what's part of this and what's actually just a big hole. Again, the lines go in the direction you want to inform the volume of. Okay, I think we get that far tonight. So there we go. I'll finish this off air, and you can find it on my stream and my website, all the fantasy stuff. And then you'll also find it hopefully over on Christian's Instagram, unpopular tales studio. And please go and check out his Instagram or his Kickstarter. It's a great book, great team, really cool idea. I think if post-apocalyptic anything is in any way your cup of tea, you'll really enjoy this. So yeah, please go check it out. And thanks for checking out the show. I've had a bunch of commissions come in recently. I have a funny feeling it's because I've said I'm doing them on this. So I'm going to say it again. If you want to book a commission, you can do so via the Ben Hennesy website. There's a portal on that to book your commission. You can pick a 3 or 8 4. Yeah, thanks a million for this. Thanks for hanging out the whole night. I will chat to you next week. See you then. And check us out on Tuesday. I'll be back on air with Dave. This week was a dark week. We had stuff on, so we'll be picking up again next Tuesday, 9 o'clock. All right, that's it for me. See you then. Bye.